Good evening and welcome to the November 4th, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board. Welcome everyone. On Zoom with us this evening, we have Councilwoman Draw, Councilwoman Cole, Councilman Bob Ockenden, Town Attorney Dick Horowitz. This evening in the auditorium, Councilman Andy Moore and myself, as well as our Town Clerk, Amy Steckloff, and from Town Staff, Jim Costello. Those in the auditorium, if you'd please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Draw.
Here.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here. Okay, before we start in our agenda, let me read our official notice. Due to COVID-19 virus and the closing of town operations consistent with the governor's executive orders, the November 4th, 2020 Town Board legislative meeting will be held remotely via Zoom. This meeting will also be recorded, video recorded, broadcast live via the town's website at penfield.org. On the town's government access channel, cable channel 1303, and on streaming media device that includes Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Please search Penfield TV in your device app store. It is a free app. The meeting will later be transcribed. Questions regarding video coverage this evening, please contact Penfield TV at 340-8661. If you would like to address the board on any matter this evening, there are two public participation opportunities, one at the beginning of the agenda and one at the end of the agenda. You can participate by phone at 340-8771 or by electronic submission at penfield.org. And with that, we have a public hearing this evening. I will ask our town clerk to please read that notice.
Amendments to the Penfield Town Code. The legal notice was published in the Penfield Post on October 15th, 2020. Posted on the town's website and town clerk bulletin board. No postcards were mailed due to this being a town-wide function.
Thank you very much. I'll ask our town attorney, Mr. Horowitz, is this properly before the board, sir?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. With that, I would like to recognize Mr. Costello. Mr. Costello, being our Development Services Director, has worked very closely with our town staff and Town Attorney Dick Horowitz to put all of these amendments together. We did have an opportunity as a board to review them. And at this time, I'll recognize Mr. Costello for an executive summary of those changes.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The proposed modifications or amendments, if you will, to the town code are reflected in the chapters 94, which is entitled Building Permits and Electrical Code, 97, which is entitled Buildings Unsafe, 180, entitled Sewer Rents, 224, entitled Vehicle Use and Operations, and Chapter 250 of the Code, and that is Land Use and Zoning. Chapter 94, the amendment addresses modifications to the time limits for validity of a building permit from once issued from 6 months to 12 months prior to becoming invalid. It gives applicants another 6 months to work through details that they might have to do in order to start work. It also modifies the insurance limits required to conduct electrical inspections from $10 million to $5 million. We were requested by several underwriting agencies to lower that number to $5 million, as other communities have done that in the past. We are being consistent with those communities in this process. Chapter 97 updates the title of the official responsible for inspections of unsafe structures. We've modified that from the old title of Building and Zoning Administrator to Fire Marshal and Building Inspector. Chapter 180 updates the calculation of a sewer unit for an in-law apartment from 1.5 to 2 units for assessment calculations. Chapter 224 amendment addresses the authorization of public officials to serve appearance tickets and enforce the provisions of this chapter, and addresses technical corrections that need to be made to bring it into compliance with current conditions. Chapter 250 is really the one that addresses the most of the amendments. It addresses additions of definitions to Article 2 of the code. It clarifies the term accessory structures. It addresses approval authority for residential basketball, tennis, and volleyball courts. It clarifies setbacks for swimming pools and their appurtenances. It clarifies that commercial horse stables are conditionally permitted uses versus residential horse stables. It identifies the authority of boards having jurisdiction in granting conditional use permits in residential zoning districts. It clarifies setback requirements for patios and accessory structures in residential zoning districts. It addresses size, height, and setback requirements for storage buildings in residential zoning districts. It addresses setback requirements for private athletic recreational courts consisting of horizontal and/or vertical impervious hard surfaces such as basketball courts, volleyball courts, ball walls that you would use for lacrosse, that type of thing, in residential zoning districts. It updates the boards having jurisdiction in the issuance of special permits and conditional use permits in the business non-retail, limited business, general business, and limited industrial zoning districts. It clarifies the hours of operations permitted in the limited industrial zoning district. It clarifies the process for issuance of special permits to allow commercial uses within designated landmarks. It permits commercial operators to conduct outdoor display and sales events 4 times per year rather than the existing 3 times per year. It extends the validity of a sign permit from 6 months to 12 months from date of issuance to allow for installation processes to occur within that period of time. It provides technical corrections to building-mounted signs for business, industrial, and professional uses. It modifies requirements for lot area, building size, and number of children permitted within daycare centers to all be in compliance with the requirements of the New York State Office of Family Services Division of Child Care Services. And these amendments, as the town clerk had noted, are available. They have been on the town website. They're available in the town clerk's office and also in our offices as well for anybody interested in reviewing them in more detail. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Costello. I would like to again recognize Mr. Costello and a number of members of the staff that went through and have been collecting these changes and updates based on information that they've heard either from applicants, residents, and others, and also staff members as we've worked with the different aspects of the code. And also like to recognize Mr. Horwitz for making sure, as always, that we're doing this appropriately, legally, and that all of the changes are done for the overall benefit of the town and the town residents. So with that, board, again, we did have an opportunity to spend time with Mr. Costello and Mr. Horwitz reviewing these changes. I would like to ask, are there any comments at this point from any of the board members? Recognizing this is a public hearing. However, currently I've got nothing on my board for call-in nor any comments that have come in from the website. So it's an opportunity, board. Any additional questions, comments that you would like to make on these changes? And I might ask Mr. Horwitz, is there any additional comments that you may like to enter into the record that you feel hasn't already been done so this evening?
I think Mr. Costello did a great job in explaining the overall modifications intended by these amendments, and I have nothing further to add at this time.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'll give just another moment or so, and we'll continue to just toggle between any comments coming in via the website on any of these changes and any call-ins that might come in. I believe that, again, these changes, whenever you do an ordinance as time goes on, there's little things that you pick up, again, with a lot of feedback from different folks internally, externally, and it's good to do a review of that. And again, I'd like to thank staff for putting those together, bringing them to our attention, and making those modifications. Seeing one last check, seeing no email coming in and no call-ins on this matter, I'll declare this public hearing closed. Let's talk about next steps. The next steps is that the board, at one of our next work sessions, we will discuss this, and we'll look to bring it back to a legislative session for a resolution to adopt those changes. We always welcome any comments, feedback from residents. If you're just viewing this for the first time, or you're just having the opportunity to take a look at those changes, you can respond via the email back to our website, to myself, to the town clerk, or to Mr. Costello, and we'll take any and all of those comments into consideration before finalizing a resolution on these matters. Okay, thank you very much. We will move on with our agenda. I will recognize Councilwoman Adra for any communications or announcements that she might like to have this evening.
No communications, Mr. Supervisor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Ockenden.
No communications this evening, thanks.
All right. And I would recognize Councilman Moore,
All set, Mr. Supervisor.
and then Councilwoman Cole.
Nothing
All right.
tonight, thank you.
And then our town clerk, any communications and announcements this evening?
I actually have two.
Okay, thank you.
This past Sunday marked the start of the first-come, first-served deer management permit process. Applications for this DMP process must be done in person through a licensing issuing agent and cannot be purchased over the phone, online, or through the mail. Hunters may apply for and receive up to 2 additional DMPs. Applicants with licenses that are exempt from paying DMP application fee, or hunters who have previously applied for DMPs this license year, will not be charged additional fees during the extended application period. Otherwise, there will be a non-refundable $10 application fee for leftover DMPs. For more information, please visit the DEC website at www.dec.ny.gov or call me at 585-340-8629. Second one is, once again, the Penfield Town Hall and the Penfield Community Center will be the drop site, one of the drop site locations for Matt's Coats for Kids. This is a nonprofit organization providing winter outerwear for children for the rest of, providing winter for children for the rest of November. Matthew Fenton lost his life in a tragic car accident at the age of 20 in 2003. Matthew had a large heart and was always helping those in need. His memory is being kept alive through this organization. Since 2004, Matt's Coats for Kids have helped distribute thousands of new and gently used coats, along with mittens, gloves, hats, and socks that have been donated by members of the community. Free distribution of these items will occur on December 4th and 5th at the Brockport Fire Department Company Number 3. And for more information, please call me at 585-340-8629.
Great. Thank you. And I have one announcement, and that's a reminder that next week normally would be a work session week. However, due to Veterans Day and the observance of Veterans Day, town offices will be closed, and therefore there will not be a work session next Wednesday, the 11th. The next meeting of the board will be on the 18th, November 18th, which will be a legislative session. We'll next move on to public participation. There are 2 opportunities to address the board on any matter at this time, and again at the end of the agenda. And a reminder, you can do that one of 2 ways. You can call in at 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. And we'll give a moment to see if we have any calls come in, or if we have any email that might come in. I'll remind everyone that as the leaves are falling, the weather is getting a little bit warmer, and residents are cleaning up their yards. Would just encourage to keep the leaves out of the road, out of the gutters, and off catch basins and yard inlets, so that we keep drainage open and we keep our roads safe overall. Okay, seeing no calls coming in at this time, again, there's another opportunity at the end of the agenda We will move on to additions and deletions, and I'll recognize Councilman Moore.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make 2 additions to tonight's agenda and then 1 deletion. The first addition is Resolution 195, titled Authorization for Supervisor to Sign a License and Hold Harmless Agreement to a portion of a driveway within a pedestrian walkway and storm sewer easement at 73 Meadowlark Drive. And then the second addition is Resolution 196, titled Authorization to Defend and Prosecute Legal Proceedings on behalf of the Town of Penfield and to retain legal counsel. I'd also like to make a deletion to tonight's agenda, and that is Resolution 194, titled Roadway Dedication for 2020. That is all.
Okay.
I second the additions and the deletion.
Thank you very much. Moved by Councilman Moore, seconded by Councilwoman Cole. Thank you very much. We will, as we get towards the end of the agenda, we will cover those 2 new resolutions or new business resolutions. All right, as we continue on in our agenda, we do have the minutes of October 7th, 2020 before us, and I would entertain a motion of approval for those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Akden, second by Councilwoman Draw. I'll ask, is there any further discussions or comments on those minutes? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote of approval.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Akden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Since our last meeting, Board, has any board member, town attorney, or town clerk received any petitions for the board?
If not,
Okay, thank you. That will bring us to resolution by function, and we will begin with law and finance, please.
Setting a public hearing to consider issuance of a conditional use permit to allow a home improvement office and residence at 1780 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit pursuant to Chapter 250-5.10-B-4 of the Code to allow a home improvement office at 1780 Penfield Road. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on December 2nd, 2020, at 7 p.m. on said date to consider said application and to hear all those interested in the issuance of this conditional use permit to allow a home improvement office at 1780 Penfield Road in the Four Corners zoning district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Questions, Board? Seeing no further questions or comments, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Akden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Setting a public hearing to consider issuance of a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant with food truck at 1794 Penfield Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit pursuant to Chapter 250-5.10-B-4 of the Code to allow a restaurant and outdoor dining and food truck at 1794 Penfield Road in the Four Corners. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield shall hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on December 2nd, 2020, 7 p.m. on said date to consider said application and hear all persons interested in the question of the issuance of this conditional use permit for a restaurant and outdoor dining and food truck at 1794 Penfield Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Board? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Akden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold a harmless agreement to allow a portion of a fence within a storm sewer easement at 62 Terrace Hill Drive.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a license and hold a harmless agreement with the residents of the owners of the property at 62 Terrace Hill Road Terrace Hill Drive to permit a portion of a fence to encroach into a storm sewer easement to the town of Penfield. Again, this is located at 62 Terrace Hill Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Budget transfers in the general fund.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas a transfer from the town facilities account to the town security account is necessary for the cost of continuing precautionary measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Whereas the Director of Public Works requires additional funding for sidewalks repairs, and whereas the town board desires to have an update budget in relation to current income and expenditures, be it resolved that the following 2020 budget transfer be approved. From tax full-time employees in the amount of $15,000 and new sidewalk installation in the amount of $1,000 to security contractual services for $15,000 and sidewalk maintenance for $1,000.
Thank you. Discussion. I'll just let the record show that we did submit the paperwork to the county as it related to the security that we have incurred during COVID to see if, in fact, any of the CARES funding that was made available to the county would be able to be distributed back down to the town. So we'll know over the next month or two whether or not that funding would come through to help assist us with the security services that we've been incurring, the costs that we've been incurring over the last several months. Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. 2020 budget amendment in the Highway Fund for Extreme Winter Recovery from New York State.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town of Penfield received an apportionment of funds as part of the extreme winter recovery. Whereas the town board desires to have an up-to-date budget in relation to current income and expenditures. Now be it resolved that the following 2020 budget amendment be approved for the highway funds as follows. Under revenue, state aid, extreme weather recovery in the amount of $37,026.11. And the appropriation under state aid, other transportation in the amount of $37,020.11. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Quinn. I'm sorry, Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Sorry about that, Bob.
It must be the lighting that you have behind you there, Mr. Ockenden.
I apologize. 5 ayes. Authorization for the renovation of the town records management storage system.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the current shelving system in the town records is reaching capacity and the end of its useful life. Whereas the foreman of town facilities working with the town clerk has identified a shelving system and new flooring available through the New York State contracts. And whereas existing vault room will require renovations in conjunction with the shelving modifications and installation. Whereas funding is available in the town clerk's account and the facilities account to fund this project. Be it resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to accept and execute contracts and purchase orders not to exceed the detailed amount for the following vendors. Environmental Construction Group for asbestos, $11,302. Lozier Environmental Consulting for air monitoring, $1,430. Champion Movers for box removal replacement, $8,000. Viola Storage Pod to store boxes during the project, $700. ASR Systems Group shelving purchase, removal, and installation, $28,871.50. GP Flooring Solutions to furnish and install of flooring, $2,382.51 for a total of $52,686.01. Be it further resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby authorized to fund this project. From town clerk full-time and town clerk seasonal to records retention, records retention in the amount of $24,000 and in the amount of $6,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion?
I just want to say that this has been a research project for quite a bit of time, several years. We've been looking to make sure that we could make the best type of records management storage area at the least amount of money that would be appropriate for all the records that we store. And it's great that we're going to start doing this.
Okay. Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Setting a public hearing to consider the creation of the Crown Point Subdivision Section 4 Special Improvement District.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas a written petition has been received by the Penfield Town Board, duly dated and verified to contain signatures required, and having been presented to and filed with the Town Board of the Town of Penfield, Monroe County, for the establishment of a special improvement district. Whereas the proposed improvement shall consist of maintenance of the stormwater treatment area and other such items as deemed appropriate within the Crown Point Subdivision 4 that solely benefits the residents thereof. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield will hold a public hearing at Penfield Town Hall on December 2nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider said application and to hear all persons interested in the question of the creation of this special improvement district for the Crown Point Subdivision 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion? See no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to sign a shared services agreement between the Town of Penfield and New York State Department of Transportation.
So moved. Oh,
Second.
Whereas pursuant to Section 99R of the General Municipal Law, the New York State Department of Transportation and the Town of Penfield wish to share services, exchange or lend materials, or equivalent which shall promote and assist the maintenance of state and municipal roads and highways, and provide a cost saving by maximizing the effective utilization of both parties' resources. And whereas the total amount of this agreement shall not exceed $25,000. Whereas the term of this agreement shall be for 4 years, starting on November 1st, 2020 through October 31st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby approves and authorizes the Director of Public Works to enter into an agreement with the New York State Department of Transportation to allow shared services in the event of an emergency. This event to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney.
Thank you, Councilwoman Draw. Further discussion, Board? See no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, just to keep our scorecard correct, that is the last of the resolutions. Resolution 20T-194 was withdrawn. That is for roadway dedication. That resolution will be brought back to the board on the 18th of November. Let us go on to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, we do have a new business, and I'll recognize the clerk to read the first new business resolution.
Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a portion of a driveway within a pedestrian walkway and storm sewer easement at 73 Meadowlark Drive.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement with the residents and owners of the property at 73 Meadowlark Drive to permit a portion of the driveway to encroach into a pedestrian walkway and storm sewer easement in the Town of Penfield located at 73 Meadowlark Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, further discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to defend and prosecute legal proceedings on behalf of the town of Penfield and to retain legal counsel.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes legal action on behalf of the town to defend itself and prosecute any and all claims and causes of action on its behalf in the actions entitled MB versus Bushido Kai Judo Club of Rochester, Inc. Be it further resolved that the law firm of McConville, Considine, Kuhlman, and Moran be and is retained to represent the town in such action and proceedings, and any actions heretofore taken by said law firm to protect the town are hereby ratified and confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote on this resolution.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, this brings us to our second public participation section this evening. Again, you can do that one of two ways. The first being you can call in at 340-8771. You can log on at penfield.org and send a note in via our website. I will toggle between our two programs here to make sure that we don't have anyone waiting or any comments. Again, I'll remind folks that with this nice weather ahead this coming weekend, we have seen our mulch pile take a real hit, and we have refreshed that yesterday and today, so that any resident that wants to help button up things for the winter, be ready for the spring, our mulch pile is available for everyone. And of course, during this nice weather, folks like to clean up their yards, so we do accept brush, limbs, branches from 7:30 to 3 p.m. At DPW, Monday through Friday, and an opportunity to drop those off. And I think with the nice weather, folks might be taking some time off for a part day or a full day, doing some work in the yard, and you may have a need to drop some of that material off. With that, and seeing no further items coming in by way of any residents' questions or phone calls, the November 4th, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board will stand adjourned at 7:34 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone that participated this evening. I'd also like to, as always, wish all of our residents to please be well and be safe during these difficult times. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.